Hello, Uta here of Trans Widow Uta Hagen YouTube channel with a big blousy daffodil bouquet. This is going to be one of my peak daffodil bouquets, but outside we haven't even reached the peak. The early yellow ones, these classic ones, are probably about to go over, and the ones with the orange center are coming into their peak, and I've got buds of the later daffodils also just waiting to start. And I am now deciding I'm going to order more when the catalogs come, and planned at least 200 more daffodil bulbs next fall. Here is a beautiful, delicate little forsythia. The flowers come out before the leaves, just like with witch hazel. And so those are my nature artifacts. And that fits right into my theme today. I am continuing with my ideas of how a life coach slash therapist can help a patient. I'm thinking more about the adolescents and teenagers, but I also think that an adult patient could be helped in this distressful situation of becoming obsessed with cross-sex ideation and the concept, which is indoctrinated by the trans cult, in quotes, that since birth you could have been one of those rare special people that they want to study, they want to have these patients to help through, to guide through this physical transformation. And the biggest piece of error in this is the imbalance, the lack of balance. And I really do relate the medical mistake of this diagnosis and the medicalization and treatment of this through dangerous wrong sex hormones that are more and more associated with cancer, as well as surgeries which have many serious consequences involving the urinary tract and so on. And as well, the problem of the deep regret and grief 7 to 10 years after, where there is no going back to your original sexed. Well, of course, you are always in your sexed body, but you can't have the body parts back that you altered. I just heard, for example, about a new surgery that involves some kind of vocal cord scraping or something for the women who regret having been on testosterone for a couple of years, that cause their vocal cords to thicken and lower their voices, which is actually dangerous because the throat structure of a female is not accommodating thickened vocal cords. And if there's some kind of obstruction in the throat, in the airways, then you are in danger, not only because you might be presenting in an emergency situation as a male, but you are also in danger of the fact that your vocal cords are now imposing on your airway. So those are the real documented science-oriented reasons why it's so important to come up with alternatives. And this is not something that I've seen. We need alternatives to this automatic affirmation. Once again, I see that Richard Rachel Levine is publicly meeting with some kind of health officials and promoting this idea that we are preventing suicides when we put children on puberty blockers and hormones. The evidence is showing puberty blockers will lower the patient's IQ by 10 points, and cause demineralization of the bones. And there just hasn't been enough long-term follow-up. The studies out of Scandinavia are not proving that hormones and surgeries are the answer to the psychiatric illness of cross-sex ideation. As soon as we change our language, things start to fall in place and become balanced again. So this balance idea and balance of time, balance of interests, balance of thinking, balance of activities is something that I would introduce as the next concept for the patient to just think about. What are your interests? How do you spend your time? Are you helping your family? Are you devoting enough time to people in your family? Even if they're far away, are you writing letters and dropping them in the mail to the older generation who, need that? Are you keeping a balance in your awareness of other people's needs? And what I know from my experience with my ex-husband, who was so unbalanced that he said that he was the mother of our children, what I experienced directly and indirectly of those so-called affirming mental health professionals, or practitioners, the PhD psychologist, Dr. Connie, and the non-certified so-called trans therapist, who in my book is Ruth the Charlatan. My book being In the Curated Woods, True Tales from a Grass Widow. If I have time later, I'm going to read a little excerpt out of the book. Oh, I left a little mess here. Oh, dear. Anyway, whoops, we're going to push that all on the floor. I usually don't have this mess. Don't worry, I pick it up later. So balance. There's physical balance. There's being able to balance on one leg. There's being able to balance when you're walking on uneven ground, balancing on a bicycle. There is also the balance between the sensations in our body and our mind. And there's a balance in how we spend our time. Now, what I believe and kind of know is happening when a patient expresses cross-sex ideation to a so-called affirming practitioner, the practitioner urges them to engage in a life of extreme imbalance. What Neddy did when he started in with those people was he scheduled more time for himself to secretly go out cross-dressing, spending money outside of our family, and become distanced, really, from his wife and his young children. He missed a lot of our young infant and toddlers' development because he was working a regular full-time job. I was home and just working, doing some production knitting. I sold some things and also worked in a little play group as one of the setup and cleanup people. So I was kind of a monitor there. So I had a little part-time job, spent all of our money on the food because he was very stingy. He had a very unbalanced life. I still have very happy memories, even though I felt neglected as a wife and I felt that I was overworked. because I was walking us all over the place and had my son, my older son, riding his tricycle and the younger one in the stroller, and we would go down shopping. He would ride the tricycle right into the bakery and into the fish store and into these places in the shopping streets in Brooklyn, and also to the laundry. We didn't have the machines in our building. So those people who affirmed my now ex-husband caused a huge imbalance in time and in commitment and responsibilities for our whole family. And those people take absolutely no responsibility for what the ramifications and fallout was for our children. So I think that to start off with the concept of balance, and what do you think is going on in the balance of your life, the balance of how you spend your time in your life, the balance of your activities? Are you abandoning some activities that you used to find rewarding? Are you spending time with people who only talk about this obsessive cross-sex ideation? And do you really want to do that? Do you really want to start on a path of obsession? Now, I think if you're dealing with a stubborn teenager who is rebelling through this particular idea, that of course you wouldn't say it in exactly the terms that I just used. But I do think it would be well to recommend to both the parents and, let's assume the patient is a teen, that you make sure that you are keeping a balance in your life while you tiptoe into this little pool of ideas. And I do think that if you find a way to limit time on social media and really monitor the cohorts, the teen cohorts, and the who is this child hanging out with? And I say this because I recently heard, now this was in an interview of Michael Schellenberger, who is the investigative reporter putting out the WPATH Files, the expose written by Mia Hughes of the internal communications between these affirmative, in quotes, doctors, therapists, etc. And now it's coming out that girls are taking testosterone, not dropping acid like they did when I was 17 or 18. I never did that. I never smoked pot, never did any illegal drugs. They are dropping testosterone at parties as a party drug. So, and of course, you know, I regard that, you know, experimentation with drugs as teenage rebellion. And I got involved with dance. My life might have been a little bit out of balance because I spent so much time stretching and exercising and going to dance classes. But I was fortunate to have really good, healthy oriented teachers. Nobody was telling me to lose weight. Nobody was telling me to put myself into poses that are going to damage my joints. And my group of friends wasn't doing drugs. Nobody was starting to smoke cigarettes. Nobody was doing that kind of experimental stuff. We were very absorbed in our movement explorations. And I think it's really, really important to focus on keeping a balance, Like, uh, one thing to do, I would suggest, is to a patient, if I was a life coach, I would say it's going to be very important to get your mind away from these thoughts and away from all these potential future decisions that are irreversible. It's important to get away from them and learn how to just focus on what you are experiencing, what you are taking in when you are outside in nature. And it's important for the human brain to be engaging in just simply walking and talking. I notice on the days when I take a walk, in addition to my gardening work outside, I feel more refreshed, both physically and emotionally, mentally. So the idea of balance in time, what activities, and what kind of thinking are you taking yourself into? I think that could be, and that should be actually, they say start journaling. And I know from discovering my ex-husband's diaries that he was obsessively journaling about his cross-dressing, misinterpreting people nodding and smiling at him, that they were assuming he was actually a woman and he was testing out whether he could pass. And those people were just being polite. He was in Greenwich Village in gay bars in New York City. He was not going to get someone saying, listen, you're not fooling any of us. And even someone like me, like I just avoid that kind of person. I've seen plenty of them in my town, or when I was down in the city for my eye surgeries. I saw plenty of people cross-dressing and pink hair and all this various, I call it actually the non-binary uniform. I saw plenty of people like that. I didn't challenge them or anything. I would go so far as to cross the street so I don't have to be expected to nod and smile at them. I want to give them no attention, zero. And I would say that for parents, just as I always did in the classroom, give the child attention for desired behavior, surprise them with praise at unexpected moments for some wonderful thing they did, even if it's in the past, and boost them up from the core out. Balance from the core out. Let me know what you think. Please do like. Please write comments. We're almost up to 186,000 views. We're well above 2,000 subscribers. We have to keep on working on this. The trans camp is not going to just cave, even when they get the news about cancers and regrets, even when they get the news that the whole suicide narrative is emotional blackmail and you're not going to commit suicide if you don't have all these dangerous surgeries and take the wrong hormones. It's much more likely that those things will make you worse mentally ill, and the suicide would be because of regret. They are finding that phenomenon in the medical assistance in death, which I disapprove of unless someone's really truly terminal ill. But there are regretters who thought they were trans who are now asking for medical assistance in death in Canada. That's why it is worth it to me to take the risks that I do and put myself out there like that. I'm going to give you one more close-up of the flowers and write suggestions, write your experiences, and we're going to be positive here. Please like, please share, and do take good care of your own self from your core out.